What are you doing? Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's meanest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new self-titled Bicep album. It's self-titled. This is the debut full-length album from UK-based DJs and producers Andrew Ferguson and Matthew McBriar, who have not only been creating house music for years at this point, but also covering it, showcasing some of the best and brightest the genre has to offer with their Feel My Bicep blog, which expanded into a label that they've released their own music on. So after numerous EPs and singles and almost a full decade of celebrating everything house, techno, funk, and disco, I can only say that Andrew and Matt's years as tastemakers helped them develop a very nice sound on this debut album. What I can say about this record is that it delivers tons of no-frills, house, techno, and more. It delivers some very good grooves, it's very physical, but simultaneously, it's heady enough to stand up to very intent, engaged listening for an hour. There's not quite as much sound play as I typically like in my electronic music on this thing, but these guys still go into this project with some really good fundamentals. The way they pace these tracks out with percussive progressions and epic melodies is very nice. Pacing these tracks out carefully with tasteful, percussive, and melodic progressions. Enough to keep the tracks engaging, but, not so much that they're not still subtle. They're hypnotic, but they're also kind of visceral. It's a good mix of head and heart. It kind of has that calculated, somewhat robotic feel to it, but simultaneously, the extra splashes of atmosphere that they add to some of the melodies kind of give these songs an epic feel, like on the song Orca, which comes off, in my opinion, as a very dramatic, a very grand, a very cinematic opener. Not only that, but there are a couple of interlude cuts on this thing that read to me as if they could have been worked into some kind of, soundtrack for a moody dystopian art film, like the song Vespa, or especially the track Drift with its very tight synth arpeggios and elongated ringing lead melodies. The more fully developed cuts on this thing are really what steal the show though, like the very somber but heavenly Glue. The vibe the duo Condors on this thing is blissfully chill. It's kind of easy to get lost in the female vocal samples and the sad, stuttering lead melodies. There's also a very airy, beautiful Balearic beat vibe coming off the track AYAYA. I love the atmosphere on this track, the groove is amazing. It's really relaxing. It's a nice change of pace against songs like Spring, which is much more driving. You have those pushy quarter note kick drums, a bouncy bass line, very ghostly vocal samples. The track is also kind of an exercise in tension building. The more I listen to it, the more I get this sense that it's just climbing higher and higher and higher. And the song Rain is probably the closest the album comes to delivering a true banger, probably the hardest song on the entire record. Like when the beat dropped on this track, I was just, huh? There are just a lot of very well-crafted and well-assembled tracks on this record. It's slightly unfortunate, though, that they come together kind of like a compilation. Like, certainly there was attention paid to how they came together as a collective, because there is quite a bit of variety amongst these tracks, and they do kind of have a uniformal, almost, chillness to all of them, or moodiness, or spacious beauty. But playing it so subtly on these tracks did lead to some songs that I thought were just a little too middle of the road or didn't have that much bite or that much flavor, like the track Kites, or the song Opal, which in my opinion, the more I listened to it, the more tedious the track felt, because it doesn't really offer much more than this single groove and a single chord progression. And sure, the duo does deliver a couple different variations of that across the track, but it's just kind of, too little in terms of progression to keep things interesting. The song Ayer has a pretty nice down-tempo vibe to it. It's very elegant, but it's not as exciting as some of the previous tracks in the track listing. And the track Veil, for as prominent as the female lead vocal on that track is, it's not, really so great in terms of performance that it's deserving of the focal point that it's given. Still though, this album is a pretty good mixed bag. It's one of the more solid house releases I've heard in a while. The duo does touch down on a lot of different stylistic bases on this thing, which was really nice. I guess going forward, I would just hope that more musical risks are taken. But for right now, this thing sets a good solid foundation for hopefully some more ambitious expectations in the future. I'm feeling a decent to strong 7 on this thing. Transition. Have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best. You're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe, and please don't cry. Just leave an angry comment in the comments if you're angry. Anthony Fantano, Bicep. forever.